Good morning, everyone. I'm Charissa Sims, live event host for Humanities Team, a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to make conscious living pervasive worldwide by 2040. And I'm coming to you live from Lafayette, Colorado by Boulder. And we have a special guest today. Hi, Jon.
Hello, Carissa. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Well, I am so excited to connect with Jon Ramer, and our topic today is Unity in Action, Amplifying Global Communities with One World. So, how are you doing today, Jon? Where are you connecting from?
Yes, no, it's good to be here. And I am on the big island of Hawaii at the Kohala Sanctuary. Joel and Michelle Levy are dear friends of ours, Buddhist teachers. The Dalai Lama writes the forwards to their books, and they have this beautiful place. And for the last couple of years, my wife Summer Joy and I come here, and we leave our island, Whidbey Island, to come to the Big Island for the month of March. And but the beat goes on, and unity is needed more than ever right now. So even though I'm in paradise, it's not like I'm ignoring the incredible challenges we're all up against. And I'm here, and thanks to you, Carissa, and Jim, and the whole team at Humanities Team. I mean, it's a privilege. Every week we share your work, and the SINE Network is a good example of what unity could do. We have over 350 Facebook pages that people have entrusted Summer and I with. That's how we make these sine waves, and we'll explain a little bit more if people want to know about that. But anyway, I'm here. It's a little dark, but the sun is coming up, and I think as this time goes on, I'll get brighter and brighter.
Yes, and give us some of that aloha Hawaiian healing energy to help us energize our day. And yeah, you're looking very ceremonial too,
Uh,
with those
what
candles, those flames surrounding you. So it's wonderful.
fire of
Well,
one,
yeah, what's that?
the fire of one love.
Oh, the fire of one love. Okay, burning strongly there on the Big Island. And did you say you're in a koala sanctuary?
Okay, the name of this is the Kohala Sanctuary.
Kohala. Oh, okay. I was like imagining koala bears. Sorry.
Yeah. No, okay.
Okay.
This is up in the north end.
Okay.
Where,
Wonderful.
yeah, which is a very, and this is a very holy place. This is like the most remote place on earth. The Hawaiian Islands are as popular as they are, but they're still the remote place, the most remote place on earth.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that
Very
either.
cool.
No, no.
Well, I wanted to welcome One World and the SINE Network, and also our audience streaming live through the Humanities Team Facebook page. Welcome. And to all the members that are here in the green room, welcome. Thanks for being members and being on camera with us. And also, if you're watching from Humanities Team live event page or the YouTube channel. So just thank you so much for being here and welcome to the program. Because it's a live program, we'll have time for comments and questions. So try to get it in the first 30 to 40 minutes. Feel free to post in the chat wherever you're watching, and you'll get your questions answered by Jon. So I'd like to share a little bit about Jon. Jon Ramer is the founder of the SINE Network and co-founder of networks that have become One World, a network entrepreneur, social architect, and whole systems designer. Jon founded the International Campaign for Compassionate Cities. The network has over 500 compassionate cities around the world. Since 2012, players of the Compassion Games have served over 18 million people in 40 countries with more than 1 million volunteer players. That's incredible. Jon serves on the advisory board of the Mahatma Gandhi Institute for Education for Peace and Sustainable Development and an international youth campaign for kindness for the Sustainable Development Goals organizer. That's part of the UN. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wonderful. I have a feather I named Mahatma. Gandhi is very important to me in my life. And I think right now is the season for nonviolence
It
with,
is.
right? Yeah. Between the deaths of Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr., powerful time.
Right.
So today, together, we'll explore how each of us can play a pivotal role in weaving a world that celebrates unity and diversity, fostering a sense of belonging and support across the globe. So, like I said, if you have a question, you can get inspired by Jon's wisdom. And we'll just dive right in while we're waiting for questions. So, Jon, I want to hear about your journey. So, how did you first get inspired to get involved in social change?
Okay. Well, I'm a proud kid from Brooklyn. And when I grew up, there was this phrase, tikkun olam, which in Hebrew means to mend, heal, and transform the world. And there's a moral conscience I think all of us have. And in Brooklyn, they say you got to do the right thing. And Dr. King said it's always the right time to do the right thing. And that everybody can be great because everybody can serve. So that was in the chicken soup I was served as a little kid. That was just kind of part of life. And I had the good fortune to avoid having to go to work. I was a musician and I was in the music world. And what a joy. And I learned so much from making music and learning how to make music with others.
And what did you do? Did you write music, play, sing?
I did. I sold you stuff. I wrote jingles. And I
Okay.
did the music too, but Coors Light was on the air for 7 years, which was one of our, and the Cabbage Patch Kids. Oh my God, I sold your.
I have one of those.
Okay. Those ads were so popular, they had to take them off the air, which is not good in the music business because parents were complaining that they couldn't get them. If you remember, it was
No, I
long time.
remember. People were crazy for Cabbage Patch and they would always run out. And it's
Yeah.
because of your song, maybe.
Well, no, sure, I don't know about that,
I'm
but
just teasing you.
they told us the day we met the founder of the company, don't ever call them dolls. They're Cabbage Patch Kids. They're one of a kind. You can give them all your love, all your love. It was really
Oh my God, you're singing the song. You're hilarious. Okay. It'll
so.
always be in your heart, huh? You can't, the
Well,
Cabbage Patch Kids.
they say that each of us are 3 lines. So there's your bloodline, there's your storyline, which is like we're talking about now, but there's also your milk line. What has fed you? And I learned this from an Indigenous elder. And so music was as part of my milk line. And I had the good fortune while I was doing that, because my whole family did the S training. And I met Fernando Flores, the former Minister of Finance from Allende's government. And he had a really good question that changed my life. I didn't know the answer. He asked me, why are dogs never late? Why are
For
dogs
dinner, or something? Like,
for anything? Why are
okay.
they never? I didn't know the answer. They don't make promises. We do. That changed my life. And I became a student of Fernando and learned about the power of language. That we are discourses. So you're asking me my story, right? We're born into a narrative that's already going on before we were born. So we're social and historical beings. We're also biological beings, but we're also linguistic beings. And in language, we invent our future. He talked about conversations for possibilities and conversations for action, and I was hooked. And got involved and was involved in the first groupware software program that Fernando Flores introduced called the Coordinator. We were teaching people how to make commitments. that the real basic skill of making requests and promises was not taught in school, but maybe the most fundamental thing for us to know how to do with each other. So that started my journey out of the music world. And the social change shift happened after 9/11. That was my Pearl Harbor for my dad. For me, it was 9/11. And I couldn't stay silent. So I didn't know what I was going to do, but had sold at that time. I had moved to Seattle. I hadn't yet sold my company, but what I did, I went to the Pioneers Conference. I had a friend told me about that in October of 2001.
And what is that? What do they do?
Biological Pioneers. I bet you many of the people that are here know about Pioneers.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I just
No, it's a fabulous place to go. It was like the Lemmings every year would come together. They would meet in San Rafael, and issues about bringing indigenous wisdom and about biomimicry. I first heard Janine Benyus talk about that, Paul Hawken, who I later worked closely with. So anyway, that was the moment that I said, I need to get out of the business world, because I had, because of Fernando, some success with the software, and I was in that game. And I realized this was not the right job for me, and I needed to become more aware. Being Jewish is a big part of it. I knew that the inspiration for doing such a heinous act as 9/11 had to do with the United States government policy towards Israel and the Palestinians. So I figured I can't ignore that. And so I got involved. I got involved in this project with Dee Hock, the founder of Visa. And we issued these community loyalty cards. It was the Intera project. And that got me in community alliance building and organizing and using technology. And then we had the Seeds of Compassion in Seattle in 2008. That was the next big turning point in my life. This is my storyline. That was when I met Hereditary Chief Phil Lane Jr. And that changed my life.
And what tribe is he from?
Well, he's Lakota.
Lakota.
But Hereditary Chief is remarkable. First off, it's in your bloodline. Back to that, right? And he has done so much good for so many people around the world. Phil's work, and he and I have traveled around the world and worked in many tribes. In fact, March 22nd, there's a big ceremony starting on the 17th in Palenque, Mexico. It's all about the reunion of the eagle and the condor and the quetzal and the hummingbird. And in Palenque, there's going to be a huge gathering. And that's all part of this global pledge of unity, which I'm sure we'll get to since we're talking about unity. So anyway, I wish I wasn't as old as I am and my story wasn't as long, but the Seeds of Compassion was a big deal. And what happened was that same year, Karen Armstrong won the TED Prize. And you know, when you win the TED Prize, they give you one wish to change the world. Her wish was to implement globally the golden rule. I said, hey, that's a good idea. We just had the Dalai Lama here. Why don't we see if we can weave these together? So we said, why not create a campaign to create Seattle as a compassionate city? You know, mayors have budgets. And let's tell the truth. A budget is a moral document. You got to make choices, what your values are. Do we pay for this? Do we pay for that? We thought that we could institutionalize compassion. So I went to the city council and proposed that if I got enough signatures, I said, if I can get 1,500 people to pledge their time, talent, and treasure to help people meet their basic human needs, would you affirm the Charter for Compassion? And we created this institution because Ted didn't know what to do with the TED Prize. And Karen is really a scholar, Karen Armstrong, and she didn't really want to have a public role in all this. Anyway, we did it. It happened. But then the craziest thing happened. So we said, we're going to be a compassionate city. We invited other cities. There was one city, Louisville, Kentucky, that we brought out to Seattle because they said they wanted to be a part of being a compassionate city. Well, they went home and the mayor wrote me a letter saying that they were the most compassionate city in the world. And
how did they measure that?
Well, they actually did a lot of amazing things. In my opinion, they were actually more compassionate, but I just couldn't believe it. My Brooklyn, blood was on fire. What do you mean you're the most compassionate city? Okay, game on. And we invented the compassion games, the survival of the kindest. And we counted acts of service. So number of volunteers, number of hours of service, number of people served, the amount of money you raise if what you're up to is raising money. And you can go to the compassiongames.org and see this beautiful map. We've been doing this. It was 2012 was the first year we played. And it's grown into a phenomenon. And I'm excited to tell you this thing about the United States government, of all good things or bad things, depending on how you think about it. They've supported the Compassion Games through AmeriCorps. And we've been able to give away $125,000 a year for the last, this will be 6th year. And to honor Dr. King. So that's the other beautiful thread. And you mentioned, Charissa, earlier, the season of nonviolence, which goes from end of January when Gandhi was assassinated to April 4th. And the wisdom of Dr. King, I mean, every year we have the privilege to be able to remind ourselves about the moral clarity that man had and the courage he had to stand for the right thing. So anyway, that Compassion Games started, it became kind of a phenomenon. It's been played in prisons, played all over the world. There's amazing examples of what communities can do, schools in particular. Great teachers, saw this as an opportunity. So anything from a random act of kindness to a organized service project qualifies and is on the map and has been, we keep updating the map with all the actions that people are doing. But you know what? I found out that it's not easy to play together. It was really amazing how hard it was to get people to support us, not to play the games, but, to stay up as a nonprofit and go to funders and talk to organizations. So I had this crazy idea. I said, we need a league of like Compassion Games superstars. That's what the SINE Network is, a synergized impact network exchange. That's where humanity's team fit in. So the idea was we needed a group that was committed to what I'd call behavior change at scale. So if we're really going to make a difference in the world, love and compassion and kindness are necessary, absolutely, but it's not sufficient. We need to change the way we think. We need to change the way we speak. We need to change the way we act. And we don't know how to do that really well. But we can. So that birthed the SINE Network. And that's why it's really trust. We do what we call trusted sharing. So over 350 organizations have trusted us with their Facebook pages and their groups. And so a sine wave, the SINE Network, takes a live stream and turns it into a wave by trusted sharing. And this is the key. I really think if we could change our agreements with each other and change how we relate to each other. There's one of our superstars is Dr. Tamsin Woolley Barker. And Tamsin, who wrote the book Teaming, Teeming, she's an evolutionary anthropologist, evolutionary biologist, the first person to get a master's in biomimicry. She said, Jon, the situation, it's caused by the patterns. The patterns are caused by the relationships. If we change our relationships, we can create new patterns. And those new patterns will create a new situation in the world. So that's why I go back to why is it that dogs don't make promises? And I wrote a paper that says AI doesn't care. You do. Potential that we need to learn to evolve, in my judgment. It's how we make agreements with each other. That's why we're doing this global pledge of unity, a sacred covenant to unite humanity and restore Mother Earth. And it's indigenous. The craziest combination, guys, is now indigenous wisdom with AI. We've been doing some amazing things. And ChatGPT, for me, and that experience is one of the most important things we all need to really come to terms with. What is going on there? And how our collective intelligence could be accessed now to do really good things. It could also destroy everything. If anybody looks into that topic, as you'll see in that paper, AI doesn't care. You do. That this is one of those kind of moments for humanity to stare at our belly buttons and figure out, okay, what is sacred intelligence? What is nature's intelligence? What is creative intelligence? What is artificial intelligence? And how we need all the intelligences we could get, in my opinion. So I'm not I'm in awe of what we're doing. And specifically, we just did this, I'll give you an example, a symposium with Irvin Laszlo and evolutionary leaders, and Steve was on it. And we asked people to give us their feedback. So we put together this detailed questionnaire. And in the past, it's been very easy to get all the quantitative data. But we asked questions like, what was the most meaningful thing about the symposium? And people wrote different answers. In the past, we would have maybe put each one of those answers onto a Post-it, stick it on the wall, and try to group them all together thematically. Oh my God. AI can summarize in incredible ways. And we took all those answers, wrote a prompt that said exactly what we were doing. And the summary brought people to tears. It says, that's what I've been wanting to say. I could show you an example of it, because we've been doing it all the time now. Now, this is a good way to use a tool like that to actually do the summarization capabilities to help, we said, from feedback to foresight, to help decisions that need to be made and the agreements we need to make to actually move humanity forward here. So Indigenous wisdom and AI, what a combo.
Sounds fascinating. Speaking of AI and Chat GPT, my girlfriends and I were talking about it. We have a group of moms that get together. It's called a RAC group, Random Acts of Kindness. So we all pool our money together and we give to an organization or a person in need. But she was telling me her husband gave her a card and she was crying. And then she realized later that he wrote it with Chat GPT. So I was like, oh my gosh. I thought that was funny, but also scary a little bit. So but it's that compassion that you bring, so maybe you're creating something that evolves into caring or compassion, technology with caring. Is that correct?
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about this. Right. Yes. So I believe that you can augment yourself in ways that are creative. Like this right now, I'm sitting here in Hawaii. I mean, we're online all the time with people. That's why I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening whenever I enter a Zoom room, because you never know who's on at what time. That's not trivial. That's not trivial.
Especially here. It's incredible. We get people all over the world. Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing is, when the technology's good, it's invisible. It's like your shoes. If they're working good, you shouldn't be aware of them. If people ask me, what am I doing? And I said, well, I'm sitting in front of my laptop operating Zoom. No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm actually being with Charissa and on this call. It's working good. ChatGPT is not transparent for us. It's a disruption. It's huge. So the first thing is, I think, to keep trust, you have to be transparent about it. So everyone's kind of awkward with it. The person you're referring to, he couldn't write something as good as what ChatGPT wrote. What do we do about that? Now, yeah, I think you be honest about it and you say, okay, this is what I'm able to do, because there are things that lets us do. It changes the limits of the possible in our everyday lives. And it's true. It's replacing us in ways. Like I have one of those Tesla cars, right?
I've heard of those. I've heard of that. I'm just teasing you.
But the job of keeping that car in the middle of the road, the car does it better than I do it. And you know what? I don't want to sit there and make my use of my time be all about that. There's ways that we're augmenting ourselves with these capabilities that are profound. Zoom, I think, is a great example. So
yeah, that's beautiful what you said, that it's you don't notice. When you don't notice the technology, it enhances our lives. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything from my glasses, that's where it started. All these tools. It was Fernand Braudel, the French historian. He said that all development is driven by changes in the limits of the possible in the structures of everyday life. And right now, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending upon how you look at it, the technology we've built could destroy everything. It's true with nuclear weapons. And we've come to, I don't know if people read the other day in the New York Times what was going on just a year or so ago. I mean, the threats to our future are great, and AI is one of them. There's no question.
Mm,
I think that's a good opportunity to start to have some deeper conversation. That's why I'm here.
I love it. Wonderful. And you have a technology background too. You're an incredible resource for all of us, in the spiritual world, merging that AI and technology with spirituality, compassion, and caring. Well, I wanted to say, Jon has been an incredible partner with Humanities Team, and he's also hosted events such as the Global Oneness Summit with panelists and other spiritual leaders. So I'd like to play a clip from one of the events you hosted. And this and many other programs are available to Humanities Stream Plus members. Can we go to that clip now? Tech team?
Our focus is Tales of Synergy from the Magic Canoe. This is a multiplayer, immersive storytelling, infinite game, digital publication, and mass collaboration project intended to reveal and celebrate the oneness of the human family. The Magic Canoe is a vessel for traveling between worlds. Now, when your universal self meets my universal self, one possibility is that we together make synergy happen, and in so doing, change the limits of the possible. But this isn't going to happen by itself. We must choose to synergize. Therefore, we're going to talk about what does it take to actually build the trust necessary to create the synergy that enables each of us to achieve purpose. We're a group of social innovators committed to behavior change at scale. And the point of this game is to consciously connect to ourselves, to each other, to Mother Earth, and in doing so, connect to cultivate the conditions that are conducive to personal and societal transformation. In other words, behavior change at scale. And our motivating vision is as we write these tales of synergy and we paddle and publish together, we see these individual streams converging into a mighty river, becoming part of an overflowing movement, synergizing with other movements into an interconnected global ocean, lifting all vessels, navigating to a united world, caring for all life and future generations.
Thank you for that. What did you think about that clip, and what's the story, the tales of the Magic Canoe?
Yep, Tales of Synergy from the Magic. Well, it's so funny you'd play that. My God, I had no idea you were going to play that.
I know, I didn't tell you. And I love how you just went deep. You just closed your eyes and you received.
Well, I was wondering what he was thinking. By the way, that wasn't written with ChatGPT, okay? This was before.
Yeah, this is a whole different thing. Yeah, original creation.
But I'm telling you, you see now ChatGPT's in that canoe with us. And what we're doing is we're moving from a world no longer to a world not yet. That is an indigenous concept. It's a vessel for traveling. And it's actually a poem. This is a true story I'm about to tell you. I've done ceremony with indigenous tribes, and there was a time I did the ceremony, heart opening protocol. And during the time, you're in an altered state, and they turn on a digital recorder so that you can listen to it afterwards. The first words I said when I listened back were Magic Canoe, moving between worlds. Lots of room. Everybody's welcome, here to serve our journey home. So the idea was that we can write these stories of synergy together. We can learn to weave our strategies together and turn what we have into what we need. You see, the role for me has been to support other social innovators. I'm kind of like the artist and repertoire guy at a record label. And Steve Farrell's one of those superstars. And my job is to help Steve support and amplify his work. It's to enable others to achieve purpose in the face of uncertainty. That's the kind of leadership that I've been striving to offer. And so it's Ben Bowler with Unity Earth. It's Phil Lane with all the work on the reunion of the Eagle and the Condor and his amazing journey. And Nina Meyerhoff and One Humanity Institute, who's been building the House of Hope and Auschwitz of all places. And the list goes on. I'm very privileged. And all of us have been creating together a space we call One World. oneworld.earth. It's a mighty network.
I joined. Okay. I highly recommend.
A lot of amazing things. Okay, just what we're doing there. But
go ahead.
Yeah, no. You can't shut me up. I got to admit, poor Charissa here. I just keep.
Oh, no, I'm here to listen. We're here for you. Yeah, it's all good.
Because here's the thing. So remember we're talking about needing for making new kinds of agreements and all that, right? So the pattern, we've created the pattern there. People in One World are encouraged to declare their purpose statement. All right. So Dr. Tamsin, did you see that in your welcome checklist, Charissa?
Mm-hmm. I did that.
Genius. Let's check this out. And everyone could do this here. So there's 4 steps to this. And it's like, remember Mad Libs, you fill in the blanks.
I love Mad Libs. Yeah.
All right. So it starts with, because I believe, you fill in the blank. I am called to, you fill in the blank. Like, what's your role in some system? So because I believe, I am called to, in a way that. That's your value.
Give yours as an example?
I will. We could do them right now. It's the kind of thing you do. But wait, that's the third. So because I believe, I am called to, in a way that, so that. So because I believe that humanity's team is an important mission on Earth, I am called to get up at 4:30 in the morning. In a way that brings love and light, so that all of us can awaken and remember our sacred mission. You could do it at any time, in any context, to know your purpose, right? So what we're doing here is people are going through that process, learning about what we call radical collaboration by teaming up. And it starts with knowing your purpose statement. Then again, here's where AI works. Everyone puts that in their profile in One World. And then you could click on a little button that says, show me similarities. And I could see, that you and me, Jacqueline, or me and you, Charissa, we have this in common. And it can help facilitate that process of getting to know each other. So that, because you got to know the network to knit the network. So this is just an example in One World of a new pattern we're creating. And then people are encouraged to declare their missions. And in doing so, put out their mission plan. These are the objectives. Here's the actions I'm looking to take. And we could be what we call an impact hub. That's the idea of One World, impact hub. And it's
that's wonderful.
I offered something earlier. I'm willing to do it if you want. It would take a second. Here's the thing. I was telling you about the summarization capabilities of ChatGPT and how we used it. We just prepared for this Indigenous led with Allies Summit happening in Palenque on March 17th. It begins through the 22nd. So we asked, and during the session, and it was on Zoom, but was live streamed out, we used this thing called Mentimeter, which we asked people, okay, what's so important about this mission that we're up to? And they gave us all the feedback, and we were able to show in real time. But then I summarized it after. And I could, how about we take a look at that? It's a single slide. If I could share my screen, I'll do it. Is that okay?
I'm not sure. I can. I don't know. I think we have to. Oh, you can. There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this Indigenous-led initiative, and this is what a couple hundred people's input gave us. Let me just read this. I thought this was all summarized using ChatGPT, but spoken by us, the people. Participants of the event collectively envision a future that is deeply interconnected, rooted in heart-centered empathy, Magic Canoe, and guided by Indigenous wisdom. Multiplayer, immersive. There's a strong desire to bridge cultural divides, share knowledge, and honor our global family, all within a framework of joy, peace, and environmental harmony. This vision is underpinned by a respect for elder guidance, a commitment to justice and inclusive politics, and a responsibility towards future generations, with a goal to co-create a balanced world that celebrates unity in diversity and fulfills ancient prophecies of peace and connection. I rest my case, okay? Those were your words and my words and the other words of all the people that were there for that event, summarized by ChatGPT.
You did it. You used AI for that one. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that one. But I'm saying to you that this is yes, that's the factual truth. But more importantly, it's a capability for us to start to tap into our own collective intelligence.
It's incredible
Because
you use both.
That's right. But that's enabling us to take the caring. Remember, AI doesn't care, but you care and I care. And perhaps because we care, we can make new kinds of agreements with each other and do the things that really need to be done that we haven't been able to language quite like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Very comprehensive summary. So I was wondering if anyone in our audience had any questions for Jon. Feel free to put them in the chat. And didn't you have an event recently on One World? What was that event? Was it with an Indigenous leader?
Okay, yeah. So Brother Phil was, David Gershon was, all part. Irvin Laszlo had an institution for humanity's sacred mission. Mm-hmm. We did a symposium called Awakening to Humanity's Sacred Mission. And what we did was we said we wanted to do things differently. So we had visionary voices, and those visionary voices, equal amount of time was then given for engagement. So anyone who came was able to then engage. And we use this new kind of feedback capabilities, real time, and we call reflective feedback. So many voices, there were 3 days of events, and there were 2 sessions each day done to accommodate both hemisphere. They were up early, up late, whatever. And we then took all that feedback and summarized it. And it's a golden thread that's being woven. Because do you know what humanity's sacred mission is? Your personal mission. And you gaining the clarity. And that's why, for me, purpose is so helpful. To be able to stop and pause and just listen to, what do I believe? Because I believe. What am I called to? And how am I going to behave in the pursuit of that purpose? So that what's going to happen? Now, that may not resonate with everybody, but it resonates with enough of us that together we can make some good of this, that we can understand. There's a wetiko. Charissa, do you know what wetiko is?
No.
Term I didn't know either. It's a Native American term. The Cree people used it to describe when we arrived here. A book was written about it called Columbus and Other Cannibals. Wetiko is a spiritual psychosis. It's an insatiable greed that has taken over all of us. That's why we're in the mess we're in. We're in a collective spell.
And we're holding that collective from our history. It's in our DNA.
It is. It's the narrative we were born into. This is what it was: win, lose, up and down, power over, not power with. And I'm privileged to tell people we met Patricia Ann Davis, who's one of those indigenous elders, and the Indigenous Wisdom Institute is a part of One World. And she teaches Hojho, living the loving way as a way of life. Living the loving way as a way of life.
Mm.
Now, in One World, you'll also see the event in Palenque. So it's the second
Oh, yeah.
gathering.
Someone is asking about that in the chat.
I saw that.
Okay.
So in One World, so it's One World, ONE world.earth, .eart.
Mhm.
We use that brand Earth and Unity Earth. And
Yeah.
now
We
there's
can
this
put that website up, oneworld.earth.
Yeah, that's the way people can connect. So Hereditary Chief Phil Lane and many others are convening in Palenque for this gathering in which we're going to unveil the global pledge of unity, a sacred covenant. The sacred covenant is to unite humanity, restore Mother Earth. Unite humanity, restore Mother Earth.
That's
and
wonderful.
I think, again, with ChatGPT is part of it. Indigenous wisdom and ChatGPT are like, wow, what a great combination. Because the thing is this, Patricia asked me a question. Remember Fernando asked me a good question, why are dogs never late?
Mm-hmm.
That changed my life. There was another question. And Patricia, so she's an Indigenous elder, authentic wisdom keeper of the Navajo Diné tradition. And her father, when she was 8 years old, initiated her and said her mission in life was to undo the thinking that led to the pain and suffering of her people. And that's Wetiko. Okay, but Patricia said to me, Jon, can you name one religion that can get the sun to come up other than in the east? So there's a natural law. I used to think the Native Americans had a religion. No, there isn't a Native American religion. It isn't a belief system.
They're following the natural world.
That's right. That belongs to all of us.
Yeah.
That all of us we go from being a child to being a young adult, to being an adult, to being an elder. Maybe we're a parent, maybe we're a grandparent. There's a natural order of things. There's a thinking system that puts you in the healthy affirmative thinking. We're not brought up that. We're in the Eurocentric, dualistic thinking, where we're deficient in some way. We think there's something wrong with us. And we're trying to get better. There's no hope. It's here now. That's how you break the spell. It's by us together evolving the potential that's here right now. It's always right now. It's a choice. It's a choice.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And I've listened to Patricia for 15 years. It's so simple that people miss it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We're so convinced. We're so bought into the Wetiko. It's a deficient self-image. There's an affirmative thinking. And that's when we move to the positive. That lets us change our thinking and change our speaking and change our actions. That's what I'm counting on. Now, it may not happen in my lifetime. That's okay. Maybe, but we need to do the right thing. Like we said earlier, Dr. King, and from Brooklyn, it's always the right time to do the right thing.
Amen to that. That's incredible. I love that saying too. So Tina, I have some questions. Tina asks, what is the name of the program on Humanities Team Stream Plus? I'm not seeing it. Thanks for being here and sharing. So yeah, I don't know if our tech team is able to get that link for Tales of Synergy in the Magic Canoe. It was a Global Oneness Summit. So, so hopefully we can get that up at some point for people to find that. I know it is hard to find. It may not come up in traditional search. Yeah, go ahead.
One World. I mean, you guys could tell. It's hard to shut me up, right? I'm pretty prolific. There's stuff,
I'm Jon Ramer,
a ton of stuff I've written and done about. The Magic Canoe is a space inside of One World. So in other words, if you go to oneworld.earth, it's free. On the left-hand side in the Mighty Network, there are these different spaces. And I've written about the Reverent Revolution with Patricia and the Magic Canoe and the Tales of Synergy from the Magic Canoe. There's a whole section there. And she's calling for a cosmic planetary reframe out of this dualistic Eurocentric thinking. Now we're trapped. It's a commercial language. English is a language for commerce.
Mm.
And we're always in this situation of power over. The majority rules is power over.
Mm.
That's why we see and I'm wearing that shirt, as I was telling you before, from the Iroquois Confederacy, which is the deep root of our democracy, which is where the American government came from. Most people don't know that. Ben Franklin, those guys went and visited the Iroquois Confederacy. And you know what? The two things that we left out, the women in the indigenous culture, the women choose the chiefs and have a lot of influence. And consensus. We went with a representational form of government, and look where we are.
Mm.
All the special interests, all the influence. So anyway, I'm a big fan of the natural order of things.
Yes.
And that indigenous people can bring us back to that. That's the big hope. And this event in Palenque is intended to launch a pledge of unity.
Mm.
And Chief Perry in Manhattan, Manhattan, will be leading a powwow of unity and peace in New York City that we'll be at in June, which is all part of World Unity Week, which we've done for 5 years with Unity Earth and many others and the Hague Center. If you really care and you really want to get involved, there's so many ways that you can be not only showing up, but really be supported here. We're creating a new culture for caring that really is rooted in what we as human beings can do for each other. And using these tools where they can help us connect and do what has to be done to turn what we have into what we need so we can get really what we want. And what we want is a world that we be proud of for our future generations. Everybody wants that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go into a few more questions. This is from Facebook. Piper says, do you have an opinion on self-driving vehicles and how they have wrecked and caused some accidents? Should they be on the road yet?
Okay. So do I have an opinion? Of course, I could, if I didn't have one, I can, hey, I don't use the automatic self-driving thing on my Tesla. I do have a Tesla, and I think it's the greatest car I've ever had. There's a lot about it that I love, the sound system being one, and the fact that Summer and I, we call it the Ruby Room. It's electric Ruby. We'll just go in there sometimes and watch a movie. So the autopilot was what I was talking about. And I'm worried about the rate at which we introduce some of these capabilities. I mean, it's amazing that they actually are doing it, that there are cars driving around San Francisco with nobody in it. They're picking up passengers. So my feeling is as much as necessary and as little as possible when it comes to risk. So, my opinion is be careful. These things, the thought, and it's true, if everyone doesn't know this, right now, they can launch these drones that have facial recognition software in it, and it's going to go find you and going to kill you. This is real. Killer drones we're at an important...
Well, they're already doing it in the military, so it's not like outrageous.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying that if you're worried about cars, that's just added to the list. We should all be very concerned about how these technologies are being used. That's why I wrote that paper. AI doesn't care. You do.
Mm-hmm. Powerful.
We need to wake up to that because there's money to be made. That's the problem. This is the Wetico, right? This is how it steps in.
Mm.
Stop it. They can't help themselves. Shareholder value is everything. You're beholden to them. You can make a killing with this now. You look at everywhere you go, AI is being sold to us.
Mm-hmm.
This has to say, here's my AI strategy. And we don't even understand it. And the people who are making it don't even fully understand it. At least they're being honest. But these are serious threats to our future. And
oh, yeah. Yeah, a friend was sharing that she was talking with this recent grad from an Ivy League school, and she said they all write their papers with GPT. That's what they do in college.
Right, but that's okay. But listen. Okay, you're saying that. Okay, this is the all new technology goes through this. We're kind of awkward with it.
Yeah, of course, of course. There's a learning curve.
Hide it like there is if there's no hiding it, and you can't.
Yeah, I'm sure the professors must know.
But here, I'm going to tell you something I've learned. Okay, 'cause I've been playing with this stuff for a while. This is going to be helpful to you if you care about this. So I in that paper, AI doesn't care. I described AI as a thinking and doing partner, but it's better than that. It does think something. It's the thinking and doing partner with infinite patience, which means you can ask it again and again and again,
Mhm.
keep improving what it's done to the point at which then it becomes exactly what I wanted to say. So I have no problem telling people that how I'm using ChatGPT, but I own my words. I am responsible for my words and my deeds.
Yeah.
And therefore, you can use it and learn how to use it to have it actually reflect more and more of what you're trying to communicate. And
Hmm.
in that way, it actually came more back to me. You know, you like in the beginning story, you said the love note written by, that was written by
Yeah.
ChatGPT. Yeah, it's true. You can put a few words in and get prompts that'll amaze you, but how do we really refine that? How do we really articulate
Hmm.
what I think we can be more articulate than we've ever been? And in doing so, that's a good thing. It's good that their papers are using ChatGPT. If they're reading them, now the question is, are they learning anything from
That's
what?
true. Are they reading, refining, editing them, putting their spin on it? Yeah, I agree. So here's another question. How can new use of AI educate the youth of the power over paradigm we are in, and how to shift us from competitive to collaborative, sustainable lifestyle? Which I think is a really good question for you, isn't it, Jon?
That's my kind of person. Okay, there you go. Because now we're talking about what we really do care about, right? What are our values that determine and shape our behavior? Okay, there is a TED talk from Sam Khan, the Khan Academy, where he's talking about how they're using AI to really help each kid with a personal mentor and for teachers to have teaching assistants. It's a breakthrough. When you watch it, you realize the process of,
Wow.
yeah. It's on the TED talk just recently, well, actually within the last year, but they're showing how the process of learning and how Bloom did this study. They said, boy, if every kid could have a personal mentor, we could take a bad student, make them a good student, but we just couldn't do it because we couldn't train all the teachers. Now with AI, you can. Okay. But what the question is really pointing to is how do we teach our values? How do we learn how to think? How do we learn how to have practical competence? And how do we bring the values to get us out of the wetiko? How do we break the spell? The fact that we can get to this conversation is a good sign for me.
Mm, so
Tells me
positive.
that
Mhm.
we're awakening to what's really important here. And that's what I go back to before an indigenous ceremonial change process. So Patricia has articulated. Fernando called it a conversation for possibilities, but it begins by declaring a break. Ceremony. Ceremony is for spiritual correction. We in our culture do not have a safe place to empty. Authenticity grants authority. Women know that. Men are learning that. Or the masculine, the feminine. I don't know how all that works out. We could talk about that. But there is a place in which we can name the out of balance condition. Like just like that person said, hey, this power over, this greed, this insatiable need to win. How do we get over that? Well, the root of the word competition, I learned this with compassion games, is competere, which means to strive together. The idea of winning and losing, that's rooted in our thinking system. So
Mm.
there's a way we can undo the twisted thinking.
Yeah. And I
And
loved how you said, as we're awakening, it's all light now in Hawaii. The day
it's
has started as you're awakening.
that's right. What awakening and remembering. Okay. That's
Remembering who we are. Hmm.
that's right. That's right. We are one. We really are one. But you
Hmm.
got to stop denying the oneness.
Yes. Today, let today be the day. Here's another question from Guranam. Love your questions. Is there any living community based on these principles that you know of? So we can
Yes,
move there.
yes, we are doing it. It's a deep, beloved community of networks with a global influence. That's what we're calling One World. It's our experiment in all of this.
Hmm. It's online.
That's where we are connecting. Now, here's the thing: synchronous and asynchronous. This is synchronous. So we do live events where we come into rooms together. We've done stuff in Zoom rooms you would not believe. Embodied intelligence, dancing, movement. I mean, arts is so key. Kristen Hoffman and all these amazing artists. And my wife is an incredible dancer. She danced just recently the fourth time for 24 hours to raise funds to support. Yes, she danced.
Oh my God. I would dance with her. I love to dance too.
Summer. She's definitely the best part of knowing me is you get to know Summer. Um, so, but the other thing we're talking about in this one world is really the unity and diversity. It's such amazing with intergenerational, cross-cultural, and people are doing this pattern I was talking about. We're declaring their purpose, declaring their mission. We have these mission boosts on a monthly basis. So we have this pattern throughout the year. World Unity Week launches a 99-day period, 99 days of peace through unity that ends in Peace Week in September, the International Day of Peace at the heart of that. And we're going to all be on the ground in Hiroshima on the International Day of Peace with
Mm.
Prevail on Earth. There's a Unity Earth event there that we're going to be a part of that's headed there. And then there's the Enlightening Our Way Together that happens in December. That's Indigenous led, that again around the solstice. And then
Mm.
January, we're blessed to do the Martin Luther King weekend of service, which is his birthday. And then we
Mhm.
continue with the beloved community convergence at the end of February, which is what we just did, which has a 40 days of peace in it.
Oh, wonderful.
Connected to the astrological, cosmological changes in time of year.
Yes. Yes. So let's get, we only have a couple more minutes. I want to get in
Hey,
these comments.
I want you to
Um,
see,
David said, hold on, I'm just going to say these comments.
all
David
right.
says, man follows the earth, earth follows the heavens follow the two follows itself. And thank you, David, for that. And
Can
Tina,
you say that again? I was distracted.
I know. We only have a few minutes. David says, man follows the earth follows the heavens follow the two follows itself.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful, David. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Hey,
And then Tina says, as an Olympic swimmer, my understanding is that competition simply means bringing out the best in each other. Do you have a comment about that?
that's what I meant by competere, to strive together, best of each other. Here's Summer. This is the woman I was telling you danced 24 hours, 4 times to support global unity.
You
Hi.
came just in time. We have 1 minute left. Nice to meet you, Summer. Thanks for saying hi.
Hi. Yes.
I roped her into the canoe. I've done that before. Thanks for coming over. Okay. We have only a
Yeah.
minute.
Amazing. Well, we made a sine wave of what's happening too. So
Okay.
no.
So that means Summer was sitting there making sure that this live stream turned into a wave by being shared on many of our members' pages. That's a pattern. That's what we're doing. It's trusted sharing based on trust. If we had trust at the core of all this, Charissa, we could do some amazing things. And we are, but we need
Mhm.
more. Not there yet. But we're here right now. That's all that matters.
Wonderful. Well, it's been such a pleasure getting to know you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for Unity in Action, Amplifying Global Communities with One World. And if you're not a member of Humanities Stream Plus, I would encourage you to join. and to get access to Jon's video, Tales of Synergy from the Magic Canoe, and other incredible spiritual teachers. I wanted to thank the production team, Nanette Kennedy, Jim Gray, Garth Catterall, Abby Johnson, and the rest of Humanities team. It's been such a pleasure connecting with you, Jon, and nice to meet you, Summer. Wish you all the best with One World and the SINE Network and all you're doing in the world.
Thanks, Charissa. Thank you very much.
Many blessings.
Game
Bye,
on.
everyone.